What's up, everybody? Kyle with another episode of Unlocking Your Inner Strength. Today, going to be talking about fasting and thinking about it a lot this week. The way I became one of the world's leading experts in fasting is because I have a deep passion for it, and I experiment on myself rigorously for the past 8 years with fasting, tracking stuff, measuring stuff, researching, and whatnot. So I always get excited to share stuff with you guys. A lot of my theories are in the book, The Panda Diet, which you can get on kylenewell.com or on Amazon. And if you're wondering about the next Panda Challenge, that will begin in March. And I have a couple announcements at the end of this episode if you stay tuned. Now, today I'm talking about 4 things that fasting can solve. 4 problems that fasting can solve. This time of year, most people jump into some type of diet or resolution, and they will be frustrated even if they made it this far. Today's January 20th, which is my mother's birthday and Leo's birthday. So 3 weeks into the new year, basically, most people are already done with their resolution as far as their eating plan because they can't stick with it. It completely fights their physiology. Just talking with a good friend, Steve, yesterday, and client over at our Flemington gym, crushing it with the fasting. And it's really connecting with them and clicking. He's saying how simple it is. And, the biggest part was getting his mind around it initially. So let me talk about some of the problems that you typically face when it comes to eating, because that's really how you're going to change your body composition is eating and sleep. Working out is going to be making your joints feel good and putting on muscle. Let's begin with the overeating aspect. Food is a drug. Food is a drug. I cannot overstate that. When you become insulin resistant, you get all out of whack, and your hunger hormones and satiety signals when you get full are all over the place. Fasting, the more consistent you are with it and the longer period of time you go, the less and less your issues with overeating will be. Your ability to listen to hunger cues and fullness cues are going to greatly improve. And as you become more insulin sensitive and you can get more nutrients into the cells, this internal starvation that so many people struggle with when they're insulin resistant, which causes them to overeat, even though they have plenty of nutrients within them, yet the nutrients are trapped within the cells, which means the body is saying and the brain is saying, I'm not getting enough magnesium or zinc or phosphorus. Eat more, eat more. Meanwhile, they're eating more and more and more, and a lot of the stuff they're eating is just getting stored as fat. So fasting will solve the problem of overeating. I could guarantee it every single time. It seems counterintuitive to people that they're going to eat this gigantic meal when they begin to eat after they've broken a long fast, but that is not the case. So that is going to solve that aspect. Remember, food is a drug. Fasting will solve your overeating issues. A drug, just like, look at anybody that follows a regular eating schedule that's not really immersed into the panda fasting that I teach. And as soon as they go past their precious window of eating times, they start to go nuts. They get hangry. That is just the drug aspect of food. It's withdrawal symptoms that goes away after a few days of panda fasting. So that's the first thing. Another thing that fasting will solve is the issue of time. When you decide that you are going to change your body through what you're eating, most people call that dieting, the North American diet, so much time is wasted in preparation, food prep, stopping to eat, starting your work again. The most valuable thing that we have as human beings is our time. The number one asset we have is our energy. If you're utilizing your energy to start and stop and start and stop and start and stop, you're just peeing out the window. Or I should say you're peeing into the wind, okay? Peeing out the window into the wind. How about that? It's all coming back on you. When you fast, and we get you on at maximum twice a day eating, we prefer less than that, you get back a lot of time. And one of the most understood aspects of this, even if it's 3 meals a day and you are efficient. If you look at this metabolically, right, and your brain is the same way as the muscles of your body. If I had you run 100 meter straight or 100 meter shuttle and it's 10-yard splits down and back 5 times, which one is harder? The 100-yard splits, because it's a lot more starting and stopping, starting and stopping. Just like getting a locomotive going or getting a rocket ship going, 90% of the fuel is used on the takeoff with a rocket ship. Same as you. If you're trying to be efficient and productive and you're stopping to eat 3, 4, 5 times a day, you are wasting your time and you're not nearly maximizing your productivity. So the issue of time, you're going to get back a lot of time. Let's talk about stubborn fat. We all have stubborn fat that we want to lose. That's how I came into fasting. When I was doing, the last time I competed in bodybuilding was 2014, about 8 weeks out from the show. And I was already pretty ripped. And I said, man, this is the first time, Devin, and maybe the only time she's going to see me compete. I want to be more ripped than I've ever been before. So research and more. Read some of Lyle McDonald's stuff, who's like a mad scientist, nerd. A lot of people have not read his stuff, but I used to read everything he would put out just because it was so sciencey and I loved the science of it. But we have different type of fat cell receptors. Okay, your alpha receptors are your stubborn fat cells. In men, that's primarily the lower abdomen, lower back. Women, typically it's glutes and thighs. We can have crossover patterns and whatnot. I've seen all different types of fat patterns. Some men have what's called bitch tits. They basically grow boobs, and that has to do with estrogen and whatnot. But where the fat is, that could be a type of stubborn fat within in the breast as well. Point is, sometimes men have female patterns and female have men patterns when it comes to fat. The only way you can increase blood flow, the most effective way, you could use a certain supplement, which I'm not going to mention here because it's not as effective. The only way you can increase blood flow to those areas is through fasting. That's how I came upon fasting. It was purely cosmetic. Then I realized all the mental and spiritual and health aspects of it. There's 3 phases to fat loss: mobility, transportation, and utilization. If you can't get the blood into the fat area to get the fat out to use, you could do all the dieting you want and all the exercise you want. You're still going to have these stubborn fat areas. The funny thing is, with stubborn fat, those are usually the areas people want to lose the most. But they are the last thing that's going to go. But fasting will solve that problem. But you got to be consistent. This is not a diet. When I do the Panda Challenge, it's a 6-week program to immerse people into it, teach them everything they need to know, to put them through the black level and the black level of the Panda, see the results, and then we still have them continue with some type of fasting after the fact, if they so choose. It always has to be a choice. I incorporate a ton of mind map stuff within the Panda. Let me talk about the last one I had in my notes today. The planning aspect. Kind of goes with the time thing. And I still have my old bodybuilding notebooks and I was old school, right? This was before you had all these fitness apps and calorie counting apps and all that stuff. I would weigh everything with an old school scale. Didn't even have batteries. Look stuff up in the nutrition almanac. I'd have my calculator and I'd calculate everything. How many carbs, fat, the macronutrients, right? Protein. What nutrients were in what food. How many calories was I eating for the day. Then I would have to prepare everything. And this alone was mind-boggling. And I would do it. I had extreme discipline, more than the average man. Yet over time, it would just wear me down. And part of this was when I was going back to school at Kane University. I'll tell you a funny story in a second. But I would pack my food in Tupperware, broccoli, brown rice, chicken, very bland, maybe some seasoning, and I would eat it cold. But I remember one day, and this is an aside. Actually, I'll tell you 2 funny stories. How dedicated I was to my bodybuilding craft back in the day. The one time, man, they're both pretty good. Which one do I start with? The one time I came out of class, in the back of my Jeep Cherokee, my old red Jeep Cherokee, the window was shattered. Damn, somebody robbed me. Go out there, They smashed the window. They took, at the time, right, I still had a stereo system in there, some subwoofers and 12-inch speakers, and they took that. Now, they didn't take my wallet or the little money I had at the time in my wallet, but that's not what I was most excited about. I was excited that they left my food. I sat in my car, ate my meal, and then I went to report what had happened. My main concern was that they didn't take my food. And that was the main thing I was searching for as soon as I got into the Jeep, once I saw that I had been robbed. Second funny story, to show you how crazy I was mentally when it came to this stuff, was drinking out of my Bigfoot mug. I guess some flies or maggots or flies, whatever, had gotten into my brown rice. So when I cook it, right, they look like, the maggots look like, baby maggots, brown rice. You can't tell the difference. Cook it, package it up. Get in the truck, after class, again, I'm going back for physical education at the time at King University. I would drive in, drive back. I'd already done my 4 years away at college. And I'm eating one day. I said, man, that doesn't look like brown rice. What is that? Now, mind you, these were dead because I boiled them or cooked them. But they're within my food. These little larvae. Figured they couldn't hurt me because they were dead. I had to stick with my plan. So I ate them. I ate everything that was in there. I wasn't going to sift through and try to separate the maggots and the larvae from the brown rice. They looked the same, and I only noticed because I was looking at my food. But that goes to show you, right, the insanity that some people, including myself, have been through or have gone through with the North American diet mentality. But trying to plan out those meals every day, put in a lot of time. A nutrition plan has to be two things to be successful. More than two, but I'm going to list this two. It has to be functional and sustainable, meaning you can do it in any setting. Me carrying around Tupperware for the rest of my life was not functional. And sustainable, same thing. Was I able to sustain this? If I went away for a month, could I do this? If I was on a business trip, could I do this? The answer was no. Fasting is so incredibly simple to do when you're traveling. It makes it even more simple. And if you have social events, that's cool. That's your meal of the day. That's when you eat. So with those things, the planning aspect, getting that more time, the overeating issue, and losing weight, losing stubborn fat, fasting solves all those problems. It is the holy grail of nutrition. I don't care what anybody says. I will go to my grave with that. You don't have to agree with me. You could keep in the circus of North American diet silliness. That's up to you if you want to do that. Because again, you have to willingly choose this to make it a habit. But I can tell you, as somebody that's been in the game a lot longer than most, that's studied a lot longer than most, that has been coached by the best people in the world when it comes to nutrition, nothing compares to fasting. That's what I got for you today. Now, the two things we got coming up at Newell Strength, we have the goal setting seminar. You do not have to be a member to attend. That is next Thursday night, a week from today, 8 p.m. at our Hillsborough location. I'm taking, I believe I have 40 seats for that. You can also attend on Facebook Live, but nothing beats being there in person. You're going to get a manual. You're going to have your goals for the year set out, at least the next 90 days. It's going to be pretty cool. And we have the 28-day blitz starting February 1st. If you're a member, that's included. If you're not a member, you can do that. You reach out to us. We have 10 open spots at each location. The 28-day blitz includes your workouts and 3 secret components that I'm not telling you until the night before once you join. 3 secret things that I'll be teaching about and implementing with you guys for the month of February. All right. Hit the like button, hit the share button. Thanks for tuning in. Time to go check on Colt. He's been upstairs for about 15 minutes by himself now, but I think he should be okay. And you guys have a great day. Peace.